Welcome to the hangout today. Um, so here we go. My name is David Pfeiffer. I'll be your host for today. So we're thrilled to be joining the Ripley's Aquarium of Canada in Toronto, Ontario, to meet the bamboo sharks. So speaking for us today is Morgan Powell. So Morgan, thanks you so much for joining us, and we're excited to learn about the bamboo sharks.
Well, I'm excited to teach you guys. Hello, everybody. Well, my name is Morgan. I'm an educator here in Canada, and we have some little bamboo sharks to tell you guys about. This is one of our aquarists. So this is Andrew, and he takes care of these awesome animals. So he has a really cool job. So we have lots of little sharks in here. These guys are called the white-spotted bamboo sharks, and they're actually all brothers in this tank. So we do have 13 little sharks in here, and they're all kind of sleepy right now. So there is one swimming around at the other side if you can see him. So the white-spotted bamboo sharks are related to other bamboo sharks, and they're also related to carpet sharks. So they spend most of their lives right down on the bottom. They're benthic animals. And if you can see, they do have lots of beautiful brown stripes on their back. So that's what they're named after. They kind of look like the stripes of bamboo. And they're white spots, of course. So they're pretty easy to distinguish from the other types of bamboo sharks. So it's a little hard to tell from just a video, but they are pretty small sharks. They're probably about the length of my arm, about 80 centimeters for the males. And then the females are a little bit bigger for sharks, so they tend to be around 90 centimeters or so. So you might be able to see they're just sitting right on the bottom right now. Not all sharks can actually do this. Sometimes they need to swim all the time. But if you look just below his eye, he actually has a little hole there. Beautiful. So that's what he uses to push water into it, and then it flows over his gills. So that's what's allowing him to sit on the bottom, so he can rest most of the day. And this guy is just a little bit active right now. He's trying to find a good place to go back to sleep. They like to conserve energy as much as possible. So for these sharks, they put most of their energy into making babies. So they are a type of shark that lays eggs. And most sharks don't actually do this. There's 3 different types of methods for babies for the sharks. Some lay eggs, some have a live birth, and other ones have an egg inside their mom that hatches, and then they give birth after. So these guys are very, very special. And they also have special fins that they can use for walking around. So to conserve energy, they like to do some walking as well to move, so they don't use too much energy. And they also have a really cool tail that's a little bit different than some of the bigger sharks. And they use it to do bursts of swimming instead of long distance swimming. So they're pretty fast, but they like to stay on the bottom as much as possible. So we can show you guys a shark egg. Oh, sorry, before that, we're just gonna show you a really cool jaw of the sharks. So it might be hard to see from this video here, but they do have really, really tiny teeth. And they usually have more teeth on the top of their jaw. And they typically have between 20 and 30 teeth in a row, and sharks can have up to 15 rows of teeth. So their teeth are very special because they're angled backwards, so they can use them for biting fish because they're sharp, but they also can use them for crushing shells. So they have lots of different types of foods that they like to eat. And they were just fed actually this morning, so they don't eat every day, but they did have some shrimp this morning for their breakfast. And that's definitely one of their favorites. They also really love squid as well.
So, show the eggs?
Yeah, so I think we're going to show you some little shark eggs. So I'll just move over to them. So these little sharks in here were the first ones born at this aquarium. And they were born from little eggs like the ones we're going to show you here. And if you can see that, it's called the mermaid's purse. So if you look really closely, he's actually moving inside the egg.
So that one's pretty early on in development. And you can actually, if you can get it on that image, there's little tiny threads along the side of his face. That is actually the gills, so they're still outside of its body. The gills haven't been covered over by their skin yet, by the gill covers, so it is just little threads along the side of his face.
So what Andrew is saying, if you didn't hear him, he's just talking about the gills are on the side of the body. They're still outside of the body right now. They just look like little threads along him, but he's still pretty early in his development. It's very, very tiny. We're gonna try and grab a couple different stages of life, see how they grow. So here we see another little shark. So
this one's actually even earlier in development.
So he's even earlier in development. So you can't really see him quite yet. He's
Tiny
very, very
tiny,
tiny, just above the big brown spot.
which is the yolk.
And they have the yolk sac is the dark mass there, and that helps them provide their nutrients, all their food. So these stay in the eggs for about 4 months.
This one's getting close to hatching.
And this one is really close to hatching.
He's even got his spots.
So it's hard to see, but he does have his little spots on one of his fins there, just in front of the light.
So there's his head.
And there's his head there.
His tail wrapped around.
Long tail wrapped around that's close to his head.
So he's taken up most of the space in his egg. You can see the yolk's pretty much gone. Not really much in there. So he's close to hatching.
So he's taking up most of the space in the egg right now. The yolk is pretty much gone, so that means he is pretty close to hatching. And
It takes about 4 months from the egg is laid to when it hatches.
it takes about 4 months total from when the egg is laid to when it hatches.
So female bamboo sharks, can lay about 1 to 2 eggs every 6 to 10 days. And that can last for several months during their kind of fertile period. So they can produce lots and lots of eggs over a year, whereas many shark species will only have 1 to 2 offspring every 2 years or so. So they reproduce a lot faster than a lot of other shark species.
So if you didn't hear what Andrew was saying, he was just talking about how they produce eggs every 1 to 2 eggs every 10 days.
Yeah.
And they produce eggs a lot faster than most sharks. So some sharks produce offspring every 2 years or so. So it's very slow for most of the big sharks.
And even then, only 1 to 2 offspring per 2 years.
And even then, it's only 1 to 2 offspring every 2 years. One of the bigger sharks have a longer time in between offspring.
So because these guys lay their eggs so frequently, they're excellent for breeding programs and research as well.
So because these guys lay eggs quite a lot, they're very good so they're very popular in aquariums, and they're good for studying as well.
The reason they can lay so many eggs as well is because of all of those special features you were pointing out at the beginning, which conserves energy for them.
I was talking about all the different features that they have, like they use their fins quite a bit to walk, and they try and conserve energy as much as possible. So all of the rest of their energy to go into making babies. That's how they're able to lay so many eggs at once. So this is our aquarium here. So if you don't know about Ripley's Aquarium of Canada, we are actually the largest aquarium in Canada. Of our exhibit here. So this is where we have the sharks that you can touch, and we also have the stingray tank just beside us here. So in total, we have about 16,000 animals in here, about 450 species of animals, about 11 shark species. So this is definitely one of our smallest sharks, and we're going to show you some of the babies of the bamboo sharks. See those little guys in here?
These guys have about doubled in size from when they hatched, which puts them at approximately 3 months, 4 months.
So these guys have doubled in size since when they hatched. So they're approximately 3 or 4 months old. So they're still pretty dark in color. For the babies, when they're first born, they're usually pretty dark to help them to camouflage.
And they have a lot of extra spots.
And they have a lot of extra spots. So they're going to get a bit lighter in color and lose some of their spots as they get bigger.
Food we can put in here.
I'm just going to put some food in there. Yes, Andrew?
This is a type of krill called superba krill. So it's a little bit bigger compared to some other types of krill.
Krill, called superba krill, and it's a little bit bigger compared to other types of krill. So we'll see it. Oh, there he goes. So they do swim pretty fast when they want to. Pretty hungry this morning. So it's that specialized tail we were talking about. That's kind of a lobe shape. It's kind of like an oval. It helps them to be really, really fast, and they swim in bursts. So they're not really good for a long distance. It's just pretty good at catching prey and then going back to the bottom. So we do have 11 sharks in our aquarium, and the biggest is called a sand tiger shark. So our sharks here, the white-spotted bamboo sharks, are listed as near threatened. So they're not doing too bad, but unfortunately a lot of sharks are actually endangered or going extinct, and that's because of people. So sharks are being hunted for their fins. And also a big problem is people accidentally catch them because fishermen use really big nets. So a lot of sharks are actually decreasing by about 90% of their population. They could be extinct within 20 years, which is really, really sad, especially considering they've been around for millions of years, way before we have. So if you guys don't know about shark conservation, some really big things to remember is just not having any shark products. So you don't want to eat like shark fin soup or anything like that. And other big things are trying to reduce the amount of pollution that we put into the environment. We don't want to put our garbage in there, and we want to reduce the amount of plastics we use. So making sure you're not using plastic water bottles or plastic bags or anything like that. Those are big ways to help save the ocean. There's approximately 5 trillion pieces of plastic in the ocean right now. And unfortunately, a lot of animals, this is their home, so a lot of them accidentally mistake it for food, and that's very bad for them and causing a lot of animal deaths. And some other big things are making sure you're eating specific fish. So you just want to make sure we're eating the fish that have bigger populations, and also fish that are caught with smaller nets. So if you look for like the ocean-wise label on fish products, and just make sure you tell your mom and dad to be sure that we're not going to eat the fish that are going extinct. Just stuff like that are some really big ways to help the environment, and especially the sharks, because they're pretty amazing animals and they're top predators, so they do control their whole ecosystem. And we do have these little guides here, and it's just for sustainably eating. And if you guys want, there is a really cool website and app you can look up. So if you look at the OceanWise app, that's really helpful for eating sustainably. And at this time, then we can open it to some questions if you guys have any questions for us.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Morgan. Okay, so we're just going to go one by one through the classrooms here for questions.
Okay.
So let's start off with Cindy's class. So Cindy, let's see if your microphone's working.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. Riley, do you have a question? Really loud, honey.
How long have you been working here? How long have you been working?
How long has the Ripley Aquarium been open for?
So Riley's question was, how long has the Ripley's Aquarium been open for? And we've been open for just over 3 years. It's pretty close to 3.5, and we are open in October.
Cool. All right, Cindy, does your class have one more question there?
Yes. This is Nichols' class. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, hon. Luke? What do you wonder, honey?
How many people work at? How many people work at Ripley?
How many people come to visit the aquarium?
Oh, how many people come to visit the aquarium?
Last year, I believe we had 2 million guests.
Last year, we had approximately 2 million guests. So a lot of people come here, especially in the summer.
Amazing. All right, so let's move over to Sarah's class. So Sarah, if you could test your microphone. Oh, there you go. Sarah? Sarah, can you hear me at all? Oh, I don't think your microphone's working. So if you can use the chat on the left side, it could type in the questions if you can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me talking. Yeah, okay. So if do you see the chat on the left side? Yeah, if you could type in the questions from your students, and I'll get to another classroom and just type them in, and I'll feed them through. So as Sarah's typing her students' questions, we'll move on to Karen. So Karen, can you
Yep, I can hear you.
hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So do you have a question or two?
Oh, what's your question?
Can they go like all the way to the bottom of the ocean?
Can they go all the way to the bottom of the ocean?
So their question was, can they go
Not all the way to the bottom, certainly. They're actually relatively
don't
shallow.
go all the way to the bottom? They are relatively shallow. They like to hang around the coral reefs.
Coral reefs and coral reefs only grow up to 8 down.
It's kind of how far the coral can grow as well.
Yeah, just your audio is cutting a little in and out, Morgan. So I think you said they generally stick to shallower waters?
Yes, exactly, where the coral grows. So a maximum of about 150 feet.
Okay.
If they go too deep,
Cool.
they'll get too cold for them.
Okay, so yeah, about 150 feet. And so Karen, do you have one more question from your class?
About how long do they live?
So the question was about how long do they live? So we're not sure exactly about in the wild, but in captivity they tend to live around 25 years. That's a pretty long lifespan for these little guys.
Cool. Yes, 25 years. That's pretty incredible. So I'm just going to put in a question from the YouTube channel here. So from 4th grade in Missouri. So will young bamboo sharks try to eat each other at all? Oh, we might have lost Morgan. Whoop. Seems Morgan just dropped out of the call. That sometimes happens. She should be able to get right back in. So we'll just give her a couple more seconds here. And Sarah, I did get both of your questions, so I'll be sure to.
Did I come back on?
Yeah, you came back on.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So what
Okay,
was the
so
question?
yeah, the question was, will young bamboo sharks try to eat each other or harm each other in any way?
Will young bamboo sharks try to eat each other or harm each other in any way?
Not really.
So not so much eating each other.
No.
But
They eat tiny things like the food that I put in.
yeah, they eat tiny things like the krill that we put in here. Sometimes if they're like brothers, then they'll fight a little bit. That's kind of common with sharks.
Adults will eat the eggs though, and the juveniles.
And adults will eat the eggs and juveniles, so that's why we keep them separate.
Perfect. Okay, so now I can get the questions from Sarah's Sarah's class here. So one student asks, why is there a particular reason that they're black and white colored?
Why is there a particular reason that they're black and white color? So they, especially when they're young, they're a darker blackish color to help them to camouflage. But especially in their reefs, it's pretty good camouflage for them.
Having like shadow.
And then when there's like shadows going over top as well, then it's great camouflage in the reefs.
Sorry about that. My thing was muted there. All right, so let's get in the other question from Sarah. So why are they actually called bamboo sharks?
So they're called bamboo sharks because of their stripes. They kind of resemble the stripes on bamboo plants.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to put in another question from our YouTube channel here. So another fourth grader from Missouri. So approximately how many bamboo sharks actually live in the wild?
And approximately how many bamboo sharks live in the wild?
Ooh, I don't have that estimate.
So that's something that's really hard to estimate. We don't actually have. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Morgan, are you still with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I cut out there for a bit. So we're going to Larissa's class here. So I'm going to unmute you. Actually, it's not Larissa. If you could unmute your microphone, I don't have control from here.
Okay, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yeah.
Jacob, you want to ask your question?
How do you care for bamboo sharks?
So he's wondering what are some of the special things that you do to care for the sharks that are there at the aquarium?
Why are you going to do that? Why is it not showing us here?
Morgan, did you hear the question?
There we are. It's me.
Yeah. We may have lost Morgan for a second. So this happened before, but she came right back in. So hopefully that will happen again. We'll just give it a couple seconds.
Can you hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, it was choppy. I missed the question there.
Okay. So Larissa, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, what are some of the special things that you do to care for the sharks that you have at the aquarium?
The question was, what are some of the special things we do for caring the sharks at the aquarium?
Caring for them?
Caring for them.
Well, we need to give them regular checkups and get weights on them so we know how much food to give them. They get.
So one big thing we do is doing regular checkup on them to see how much food we give them and to make sure they're very healthy.
We do the visual to make sure they're
Checks
healthy
throughout
and
the day.
behaving properly.
Just looking at them, making sure they're behaving properly, making sure they eat okay, stuff like that.
We're always reading their body language.
We're always
so
just
they're
reading
relaxed
their-
before we let anybody touch.
Their body language, they're nice and relaxed before we let anybody touch them.
We also check their water chemistry every day to make sure that there's enough oxygen, that the water is clean and free of contaminants and anything like that.
And other big things we do with all of the animals are checking the water chemistry, so making sure that the pH is proper, the salinity, stuff like that, and making sure it's really healthy conditions for them to live in. those are some of the biggest things that we do for caring for the sharks.
Perfect. Thank you. And Larissa, do you have one more question from your class?
Sure. Hunter?
How active are baby
How active are the baby bamboo sharks when they're little?
How active are the baby bamboo sharks when they're little? Those guys are usually pretty active. We see them even moving in their eggs. They are quite active, but they do take lots of rest periods as well.
Cool. All right, so we're just gonna feed in another question from the channel. So, oh, I think we answered that. The bamboo sharks get their name from the white stripes that that they have. That's correct, right, Morgan?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna try and move on to. I'm not sure if Amy's connection is working. I'll unmute them. Amy's classroom, can you hear me at all?
Oh, I thought you
Oh, is it us? Oh, that's
Yes.
us. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Yes, because they used us for the lesson. So, Juliana, we have a question.
Perfect.
Juliana, ask it.
Where do you guys get most of your animals?
Where do we get most of our animals? So our animals come from a couple of different places. We try to get from other aquariums as much as possible. Some of them are born here, like these little guys are born here, the white-spotted bamboo sharks. Some of our stingrays are born here, some of the seahorses, animals like that. Other animals come from our other Ripley's aquariums, like the ones in Tennessee and in South Carolina. And then when we can't get them from other aquariums, then we'll get them in the wild. So we have to have special permits for that. But we do it once a year and usually around those areas.
Perfect. All right, so Amy's class, do you have one more question? Oh. Do you have one more question, Amy? Can you hear me? Okay. We can't hear you on this end. You can hear me though? Give a thumbs up.
Yeah, can you hear us now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so here's our last question.
Why do the bamboo sharks give birth to eggs instead of like to a live wasp?
Morgan, did you hear that?
Sorry, I missed that question.
So I believe it was, why do sharks give birth to eggs as opposed to, I think, already like maybe full baby sharks?
Oh, okay. So for some sharks, they do actually give birth to live baby sharks. It's only about 30% of them that lay eggs. So it's just
cool.
kind of a different method. Yeah.
Okay, and we've got a couple questions more from the channel. If you can stay with us, Morgan. So another fourth grader in Missouri asks, where in the ocean do bamboo sharks live?
Bamboo sharks live. They're found in the Indo-Pacific Ocean. So they like to hang around the coral reefs. So around India and Japan and down to Madagascar as well, and Indonesia.
Cool. And another question from a fourth grader here. So they asked, how can we prepare ourselves to work at an aquarium? What, if any, school programs did maybe you take or can you take to prepare to work at an aquarium?
So some school programs to take for working at the aquarium. So it kind of depends what area you want to work with at the aquarium. If you want to be like Andrew here, a lot of our marine biology background or our zoology background So when you're in school, some big things are taking all the maths and sciences. In university, you can specialize as a marine biologist or as a zoologist, and just even making sure in your spare time you get to know lots about different animals. Those are really big things that will definitely help you get a job at an aquarium.
Perfect. So if that cut out for anyone, yeah, basically the math and sciences and specifically biology and marine biology once you can specialize it in university. Okay, so I think that's all the questions we have from the YouTube channel. So thank you so much, Morgan. And oh, we got one more staying in. Is there a way to tell when sharks are sick?
Is there a way to tell when sharks are sick?
Yeah.
So for a lot of animals, we go by their body language.
Stop eating.
And some big things are when they stop eating or when they're acting very strange. Sometimes they'll be off by themselves in the corner kind of thing. So those are some big indications that they might not be feeling very well.
Perfect. Okay.
Odd behavior too. These guys don't move much, so it's start
Okay, perfect. So yeah, thank you so much, Morgan. Was it Alex was the person with you?
Andrew, yeah.
Andrew, sorry. Thank you so much, Morgan and Andrew. Really appreciate the time, and yeah, hopefully some of us will be able to visit Ripley's in person at some point.
No problem. We're happy to help you guys.
Okay, so I'm just gonna unmute all the classrooms here so you can give a big thank you now.
Thank Kyle.
Okay, awesome.
You guys are very welcome. Have a good day, everyone.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone. And make sure to check out other Hangouts on YouTube and also the ones coming up as part of Shark Week. Thank you.